Disease X and World War III right on the forefront in 2024 and 2025. We're going to break that down today. It's time to get your house in order. But remember, with God, we win in the end. My name is Coach JB. What I work to do is make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person can implement them. We did demystify this macro microeconomics so you can actually activate to protect your family. But remember, the average American retires with $300,000. The American dream is dead. And if you don't start to get your house in order, there's going to be one choice: living off someone else's assistance. And that's not okay. We live in the freest country in the world. It's time to act. It's time to take action. And it's time to stop fighting an invisible enemy that's been created for you to keep you deep in the left hemisphere of the brain. You can, you will, you must never give up. So I have some amazing resources for you guys. We get thousands of messages across all our platforms on a daily basis around Coach JV. You talk about insuring your wealth. Hell yeah, I insure my wealth. Think about what's happening with the economy. How many people retire wealthy with the 401k? The 401k is not a good investment. 294,000 millionaire accounts with Fidelity, the largest 401k holder in the world. Guys, we have to wake up. We have to take sovereignty of our wealth. So what we've done is created free resources for you to have that financial conversation, to understand. I want you to think about something for just a moment. I'm gonna get on my soapbox for just a moment. Do you realize if you make $80,000 a year, let this sink in for just a moment. Do you realize if you make $80,000 a year and you live a pretty decent lifestyle, that for you to maintain that lifestyle, when you retire, you're going to need about $1.6 to $2 million. Let me ask you a question. Are you on track for that? Most Americans aren't even close to being on track. So we teach people how to get on track. So in the description down below, you can click the link to get a free consultation with my licensed insurance team. I have licensed insurance teams in all 50 states. Okay. You can also download my free book, which is a 16-page guide, and I break down on the back end of it, every video, exactly what I'm doing, or you can apply for our private academy. Okay. So let's dive right into it. So before I start this, I want to let you guys know I have zero fear of anything going on because I believe in God. And if you are a man or woman of God, you should have zero fear of this. But it's foolish, absolutely foolish, not to prepare your family mentally, physically, most of all, spiritually and financially. So I want to bring this to your attention. We've gone over this many times. This is Ray Dalio's Changing World Order. Okay. Now I brought this to your guys' attention. Hopefully you can see it on the screen here. Let me make it a little bit bigger if I can. There we go. Oh, much better. Okay, so this is something I've been teaching for a long time off of Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, the book, and the Big Debt Crisis. So if you look at number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, we're in large debts in America. We have more debt than we have income. They printed more money than in history, number 14. We are now experiencing internal conflict, the left versus right, which is going to be the craziest presidential election we've ever experienced. Loss of reserve currency. We are now heading into the dollar deflating. The BRICS countries created in 2009 when Bitcoin's inception was created: Brazil, India, Russia, China, South Africa. And now 5 new countries have joined BRICS, are larger than America's global GDP. Weak leadership. You have to comment down below. Do you think we have weak leadership or strong leadership right now? And civil war or revolution. So when we start to go against each other within our own country, and I think you can see what's coming with the presidential election. Okay. Now, to understand that everything is external, and until you realize what Jesus was teaching, the kingdom of heaven is within. In between your temples here, it's your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors. Like I always say, Trump coming back isn't going to make you exercise. Trump coming back isn't going to make you make better decisions with your finances. Trump coming back isn't going to change the fact that you're still not making enough money to survive. The decisions you make today will do that. Do some presidents change tax laws and make America great? Yes, of course they do. But it doesn't change who you are. God is our president and CEO, and Jesus is the one we should walk with. And if that turns you off, this is not the channel to follow, because that's what I truly, truly believe. So let's take a look at this, guys. I want to take you through the narrative. Again, I don't fear any of this, but I do prepare for this, and I get my family mentally, physically, and ready. So NATO warns of an all-out war with Russia in the next 20 years. It's not a given that we are in peace, okay? The reason why this is all happening, family, this is all cyclic. January 20th, 2024, Pluto went into Aquarius, which is when the massive consciousness shift, the energy field is changes. This is all about putting a shock to the system to change consumer behaviors. They have to shock the system to move us into a new era. So, are you going to let them shock your system, or are you going to get your shit together and get your family's house in order? So, check this out.
Just drawn to a close. We will start off this press conference with an opening.
We today announced the kickoff of Exercise Steadfast Defender 2024, which commences next week and runs through May. Steadfast Defender 24 will be the largest NATO exercise in decades, with participation from approximately 90,000 forces from all 31 allies, plus our good partner, Sweden.
Now, remember, guys, World War II, what happened? After World War II, the Bretton Woods Standard, America became the dominant currency. After a world war, usually the currency switches power.
The alliance will demonstrate its ability to reinforce the Euro-Atlantic area via transatlantic movement of forces from North America. This reinforcement will occur during a simulated emerging conflict scenario against a near-peer adversary. Steadfast Defender 24 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, our strength, and our determination to protect each other, to protect, of course, our values and the rules-based international order.
Industrial base that is able to produce weapons and ammunition fast enough. Sorry, the big difference with a year ago, I would say, Terry, is that there's a lot of things that have happened in the armed forces and in the defense organizations. What hasn't happened is in our societies, the understanding that it is more than the military that has to be able to operate in a conflict or in a war. It is the whole of society that will get involved, whether we like it or not. That realization, we didn't talk about that much a year ago. If you look back the last year, what has happened in our alliance with regard to the battle groups that we set up, if you look back to the training, the fact that we now have Steadfast Defender with 90,000 troops, that is a record number. That is a record number of troops that we can bring to bear and have an exercise with in that size. Across the alliance, across the ocean.
Now, pay attention to what he says this last minute. Listen.
From the US to Europe, in Europe. That is a big change.
And then at the back.
Thanks a lot. I guess for Admiral Bow, for General Cavoli.
People find it a surprise and as a result buy a radio on batteries. That is great. It is part of the package that the Swedish government is talking about. You need to have water, you need to have a radio on batteries, and you need to have a flashlight on batteries to make sure that you can survive the first 36 hours. Things like that. That's simple things. But it starts there. The realization that not everything is plannable, not everything is going to be hunky-dory in the next 20 years. I'm not saying it is going wrong tomorrow, but we have to realize it's not a given that we are in peace. And that's why we have the plans.
Thank you all very much. That's all we have time for this session.
Okay, so that's the first thing. We got war narrative going on, which I've been sharing with you guys in the Ray Dalio's Changing World Order. Now we're going to listen to this lady at the, this was the Davos. This is live Disease X preparation and discussion in Davos. And I'm going to share something that Julissa sent me with our amazing team around WHO. And I'm going to show you a pandemic preparedness response thing. And I'm going to read the first paragraph and you're going to be like, what is, it's like a movie, guys. It's like The Simpsons going on. Like, you have to ask yourself, how are you consciously, energetically going to show up for God in this change, right? It's an interesting dynamic, an interesting dichotomy that we're in.
Back and drill down into some of those comments in a moment.
Let me turn this off. That's how I do my research in super speed here. Let's go to normal speed. Boom. There we go. Cool.
Thank you for being here from India, where you and your family lead a very large healthcare system, Apollo Health. I would love you to introduce a little bit about yourself and your health system, and maybe also answer the brief question, what do you think health systems should do to prioritize?
So I'm Preeta, Vice Chair of healthcare, private sector healthcare group in India. We've been there for 40 years. What we've done in
Introduce a little bit about yourself and your health system, and maybe
for the past post-COVID has really, intensified what needs to be done. And Disease X, I know the name seems like a science fiction film, But basically, it's something all of us need to be aware and alert, definitely for, for future times to come, because it's definitely a clear and present danger. I want to draw an
Okay, so I want you to hear that's definitely a clear and present danger. So they're talking about this disease X, which they haven't identified what it is, but they're preparing us for something that they don't know what it is. Like, does that make sense? They keep saying we don't know when or what it is, but preparing for what it is. Like that part I'm just struggling with. Maybe you can comment down below. Maybe I'm missing something. So WHO director urges pandemic treaty to fight against disease X. At the World Economic Forum, Tedros says the new disease would be 20 times deadlier than COVID-19. But if you don't know what it is or when it is, how do you know it's 20 times deadlier than COVID-19? Like, we have to just think about these things. I'm not giving, like, you just have to think logically about this. Okay. So then this was sent to me. This is a SPARS pandemic. This is a futuristic scenario for public health risk 2025 and 2028. So this is a preparation. Check this out. The John Hopkins Center for Health Security. This is a simulation preparation for 2025 to 2028. I believe what's going to happen from 2025 to 2030 is we're going to see World War III. We're going to see a worldwide pandemic, which is going to change everything we do and move us into our new financial system, our new medical system, the way we communicate. You need a shock to the system, and that's going to last for 100 years. Okay. This will be written in history books, but I want to read this paragraph to you guys. It's interesting. So here's the things they talk about. The SPARS outbreak begins, a positive cure, a potential vaccine, user beware, going viral. The grass is always greener. The Voice. Are you talking to me? It's crazy. This like stuff. You have to go read this, guys. Vaccine injury, acknowledging loss, SPARS aftermath. They talk about like people dying, like it's wild. And so I want to read this paragraph to you guys. So this is a hypothetical scenario. Okay. Let's get to this right here. Let's see if I can find this. The time frame. Where is it? Stick with me for just a moment here. This is pretty well. Preface. Okay. Scenario environment. Okay. Right here. Okay, listen to this, okay? So this is a hypothetical scenario. It says, from the government standpoint, the current administration is led by President Randall Archer, who took office in January 2025. Listen, Archer served as vice president under President Jacqueline Bennett, 2020 to 2024. That would be Biden, right? That would be Kamala Harris underneath Biden, who did not seek a second term due to health concerns. Interesting. The two remain close, and Bennett acts as a close confidant and unofficial advisor to President Archer. The majority President Archer, senior staff, including Department of Health Human Services, Secretary, whatever her name is, are carryovers from Bennett's administration. At this time of the initial SPARS outbreak, Nagel has served in the position for just over 2 years. So basically, the scenario is about a president who has very poor health and does not serve the other term, and the vice president takes over. It's like we are literally living a movie, guys. Okay, so that's the information. What can you do about it? Are you going to sit here and fight an invisible enemy? Are you going to be an armchair quarterback? Are you going to sit there and fight and protest and do all these things? Or are you going to fight the battle within here? Because this is all the stuff that Jesus was teaching. Jesus was not a religion. Jesus was relationship. Jesus was going from village to village and say, these Pharisees, man, these people in the robes, he's like, nah, stop, dude. Like, you guys are sitting with these, you're sitting in these tax lines and the Romans, and you're all being manipulated. He's like, it's all here, guys. And think about why they took him out. People say, well, they took him out because that's what he came to fulfill. Of course, that's what he came to fulfill, to die for our sins, to give us grace. But somebody had to take him out, right? Somebody had to take him out. So what would you do? You would literally invert everything that they were teaching, and you would help humanity understand how powerful they are. You would talk about the singular eye. You would tear down the temples in the physical, and you bring them back here and allow people to see, if they tap in and tune in, they master the energy centers within their body, and they get into the right hemisphere of the brain. If they cast their nets to the right of the boat, if they went up the mountain like Moses went up and to the right, if you went to go look for Jesus in the east, which was in the right, and when you lose sight of the North Star, if you look into the still water, when you feed your camels, you look down, you see your reflection, you see the North Star, and then you can find Jesus. They don't want you to know this stuff, guys. They want you in fear. They want you in bondage. So we're fighting this invisible thing called disease X that they don't know what or when it is, but they say it's 20 times deadlier than the other pandemic. So this is just logic, right? It's logic. It's like when people come to me and say that you believe in Jesus incorrectly, or what you're speaking is incorrect. I say, well, how do you know? Well, I read it in the Bible. Okay, well, have you applied it to your life? And how is that practically applied to your life? Have you applied the teachings of Jesus? Have you lived like Jesus lived? Have you embodied the teachings and the knowing of someone smacks you on one cheek, you let them smack him on the other? Or do you try to knock them out when they smack you? When someone takes your shirt, do you give them your coat? No, that's not how people live in this world. When somebody cuts them off, they flip them off on the freeway. When somebody asks you to walk a mile, do you walk 2 miles with them? No, you complain about the mile that you're walking. You're not a Christian. You're not acting like a Christian. You're not Christ-like. You go to church and you read a Bible and you memorize verses. You go to church and you memorize verses. You're not living and breathing this. You're out there protesting when it's all internal. Just like Jesus walked up to the guy laying on his mat, waiting for a fountain, waiting for a savior to come. And if he could get to the fountain, he said, do you want to be healed? And he said, yes, then pick up your mat and walk. So do you want a great life? Do you want to be healed? Do you want your family to live a life of freedom? Or do you want to go down from the middle class down to the working poor? And if the answer is yes, I want to be part of the ecosystem that can support my family financially, spiritually, and mentally, and that's what you're supposed to do as a divine man or a divine woman within this world, then take action. Not against anybody else, against your own self, against your lack of discipline, against your lack of studying, against your lack of working on yourself harder than you do anything else. You have to draw a line in the sand and be more committed to the pain of change and staying the same. Everybody can do this. There is no chosen group of people. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. You are all the chosen one. You are all the 144,000. Do the math. Understand what that means. There's not a group of 144,000 people that are special. Everybody can tap into the 144,000. Jesus was teaching this very powerful teachings. Master the Kundalini in your body. The snake became a staff. It's all over the Bible, guys. It's all biblical. You know, think of logic. I don't see snakes coming down from the sky to bite people like in the Bible? Or is it metaphysical? Is it in the mind? When you lose faith, everything happens to you. When you lose faith, like the people did when Moses took them into the desert, what happened? God said snakes to bite them from the sky. But have you ever seen that happen now? No. Or maybe it's mental. Maybe God's like, listen, when you lose faith and you start living for the world and you start believing the media and the news, I'm going to send snakes to bite you. And I'm going to make sure that because your reticular activating system, that everything you're believing, I'm going to give you more and more and more and more and more and more of that. And you're going to be deep in the carnal mind. God created the devil, man. God created everything and all things. And deeper you go into that left hemisphere of the brain, the deeper you go into fear, the deeper you believe all this bullshit, it creates dis-ease, which creates disease in your body. That's what these diseases are. That's what war is. It's a consciousness level attack on your subconscious mind to make you think a certain way, to keep you in a certain frequency so that you believe that there's nothing to solve it other than something external. So all of you guys, as you sit, are blessed. God loves you so much. You're already healed. You're already wealthy. You're already healthy. You're already abundant. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. If you guys want more of that type of content, go to my new channel, Refined Integrity. You can find it in the recommended channels, Refined Integrity on YouTube. And I go deep into the spirituality part. Okay, so guys, let's start out by understanding exactly what I'm doing. I share this back in every video. So Merlin, the smartest way to track crypto. I'm the co-founder and creator of Merlin. The reason why we created this is because how we built riches first, and now we're going into building wealth, is we actually exited the markets during the bull run. What goes up will come smashing back down. Your job in the bull run is to pull profits. But what you'll do is you'll get the greed gene and you'll think it's going to continue to go up because your favorite YouTuber is going to fudge you out of crypto or fudge you to believe it's going to go to 600,000 or 1 million or whatever it is. And you're waiting for the savior. And next thing you know, the big money pulls and you come sliding down the back end. So Merlin, it's 30 days for free, completely free. Click the description down below. You can all download it. You can track your crypto in one shot from most of the exchanges. We don't hold your keys or combo. It's just an interface. And then you put in your exit strategy. And as this stuff goes up, pull profits. So what I do with my profits is I put it in to max fund my index universal life policies, infinity banking concept. Number 3 is I'll be buying more precious metals. Number 4, I'll keep expanding in business. That's the quickest way to wealth. You can beat inflation by being able to expand consciousness. And then for me, real estate is the game that I'm getting into this year. I'm tapping my foot into it because I need tax liabilities, depreciation, and the interest off of my earned income. So that's where I'm at. That's exactly what I'm doing. The 16-page free guide will help you with that as well. or you can apply for our academy, or you can set up a free consultation with my insurance team. I'm here to help 1 million people by 2025. And if you're still here, if you are interested, go to my Instagram page. I am actually looking for new agents that are interested in joining my insurance team. So I've told you guys, we teamed up with Ed Milet. He's the #1 motivational speaker in the world. He's been in financial services since the 90s. He's built a $500 million company in financial services by truly helping people. We are now teamed up with Ed Milet, and we are going to help over 1 million people by the end of 2025. And we need more agents that are motivated, that are inspired, that want to have hard work and dedication to help people spread this financial education. So go to my Instagram page, which is in the description of this video here. Click the link and go to my story today. And we have a meeting in Mesa, Arizona, where you can join my team. You can meet my agents, meet me as well. That is February 10th. So yeah, so go to my Instagram page right now. Go to my story. Today is, what's the date today? January 23rd, 2025. I'll be posting about it on a daily basis. And we'd love to see you there. Warriors, rise, get your shit together.